Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
The truth shall set you free.
You can't handle the truth.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's not how the Force works.
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Hasta la vista, baby.
This woman has to be gotten to a hospital.
Hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients. That's not important right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Hello and welcome to the Creative Control Movie Podcast. This is an editor's note for episode number 2, entitled Spider-Man 3, the sequel to Far From Home. This recording was completed before the breaking news on the 9th of October 2020 that Benedict Cumberbatch will be returning as Doctor Strange in the yet untitled Spider-Man sequel, and also the increasing rumours of the inclusion of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, both reprising their takes on the Wallcrawler in a potential live-action Spider-Verse. The film's release has been moved again and is currently due to hit cinemas on December 17th, 2021. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy our show on everyone's favourite webslinger. Hello and welcome to Creative Control, the brand new podcast brought to you by Zito's Gang, where we reshape cinema for the better. I'm your host, Kenan Akbar, and thank you for joining us on episode 2. Because we know better, on each episode we discuss what we would do if we had creative control on a future movie project or to correct mistakes of the past. So joining me on today's episodes are fellow Zito's Gang stars Neil, Leo, and Sasha. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Cracking.
Stars. We are not stars.
Stars of Zito Gang. Absolutely.
What's the movie?
So, basically, on this week's podcast, we are talking about Spider-Man 3, or the sequel to Far From Home. So, if you had creative control, what would you plan for the third installment of the Sony Marvel Spider-Man franchise? So, this is the follow-up from Far From Home, which will be released on November 5th, 2021, having been moved from its original date in July. So, speculation is that it will be Spider-Man Home Run, or continuing the home in the title theme. So we're going to discuss our ideas for the story, characters, the future of our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So basically where we left Peter off at the end of the credits of Far From Home is he's just been framed by Mysterio's team for Mysterio's murder, outed by J. Jonah Jameson. And so where does he go next? So Neil, what would you do if you had creative control?
Oh,
Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse. If you don't say Spider-Verse, Neil, you're going to get slapped.
Well, they're already gearing up towards that.
Are they though?
Start it now.
Are they? That's speculation.
Yeah.
It's speculation, but I'm like, there's enough seeds that have been sown that it's...
There was a lot of seeds to be sown when they said multiverse. Look at Mysterio, and I was the one saying, there ain't no multiverse, bitch. Do you guys not know who Mysterio is?
Or just change the name to Spider-Man Homeless.
Well, that would have been the first thing to do, is either call Spider-Man Homeless.
Yeah. Spider-Man Homeless, because nobody wants him in New York.
Yeah. I had control.
If you had control, what's next?
The first thing that would be happening is Peter Parker has to go on trial.
Okay.
Right? But interestingly enough, there has to be complexities of him being on trial, because we have to remember he's still a teenager, he's a minor, so there's that. But then, it's the state of New York decides to
Hold on. Rewind for a second. Why does he have to go on trial? Nobody knows he's Spider-Man apart from Aunt May and...
No. At the end of Far From Home, in the post-credit scene, J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons, comes on the big screen in like Times Square or whatever and says, here's an exclusive clip from Mysterio, because the world thinks Mysterio is a hero still. Yeah. They don't know that he done Spider-Man wrong. And in that video, Mysterio says Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and he shows that he's killed him.
I bet you that won't even be a thing. They'll just talk it off with that, he's using his powers.
Well, no, because they don't know that that's his powers. The only people who know that...
explained, people will know. It'll get explained.
Right.
But anyway, go on. Yeah. On trial, go ahead.
Yeah, he's on trial, and, it would basically kind of I would kind of relate it to things, trying to tie it into the MCU. So the Sokovian Accords are still a thing. As far as we know, they're still a thing, right? So the fact that Spider-Man was, doing crime fighting, being basically a vigilante because he's not sanctioned by any government.
Mhm.
So what they decide is they can trial him as an adult,
Mhm.
and what they'll basically be trying out is whether or not he is a Spider-Man,
Mhm.
and if he is Spider-Man, then trialing him as an adult for his crimes as Spider-Man.
Okay.
Also, I would have it that while all of this is going on, because the Sokovia Accords are a thing, I would use it as a perfect opportunity to introduce Norman Osborn. Right?
Mhm.
But I would utilize kind of an aspect from the comics. There was a comic series called Dark Reign,
Mhm.
where basically the public have lost full trust in the standard Avengers, i.e., Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, all of them, and they all get replaced. Norman Osborn replaces them, and the way he replaces them is he basically takes over S.H.I.E.L.D. and he rebrands it as S.W.O.R.D., and he reintroduces the Avengers.
Mhm.
And he picks up the Iron Patriot armor, so he addresses himself as Iron Man. He's got like Bullseye as Hawkeye. He's got Wolverine's son as Wolverine, and he's like basically taking all the bad people from the Marvel universe,
Mhm.
rebranding them as heroes and sending them out there. So I would utilize it that is what he's doing. So we're introducing him as this billionaire philanthropist, basically the twisted dark version of Tony Stark.
Mhm.
He's out there doing all of this, and he basically approaches Peter Parker and he's like, look, you were close with Tony Stark before he died. If you bring me in on a couple of secrets or whatever, and we'll drop all the charges. I've got that kind of pull. We'll drop these charges. We'll get you off, and we'll repackage you, and send you out to the world as a hero. Forget all this Mysterio shit. Don't worry about it. And essentially that would be the storyline. But I would also have it that what Osborn is doing is he's utilizing minor criminals to make his version of the Avengers look even bigger.
Mhm.
And I think it would be a perfect opportunity to kind of meld, if I had control, to meld the Netflix MCU with the actual MCU, and I'd have Bullseye as one of his people. So Bullseye from Daredevil season 3,
Yeah.
I'd have him turn up as a version of Hawkeye.
Mhm.
Maybe we have someone else, a US agent that's supposed to be in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'd
Mhm.
have him turn up, and he would be the Captain America.
Mhm.
And you could have Osborn himself be he can be the Iron Man of it, and just bringing it forth. Maybe have Abomination come back, because we've still got what's his name, General Ross. He's still alive, he's still knocking about, so you'd have Ross there, and Ross can be, Ross will bring in Abomination. He'll be repackaged as their version of the Hulk.
Mhm.
But he'd have lower level criminals will be going out and pulling crimes to make these Avengers look good.
And you could have Matt Murdock come be Peter Parker's lawyer.
Either Matt Murdock or I forget her last name, but Jennifer, whatever her name is, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, yeah.
Right. But it's like you have one of them. You use it as a platform to widen the scope of that world, but at the same time, like, all of this could be basically side story, whilst the main story is Spider-Man's on trial. But also, while he's on trial, you have to have something happening. So maybe he uncovers everything that's going on, and he has to decide, well, do I actually go out there and save these people who now think I'm a criminal and hate me? Or do I just say, no, you know what? I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not doing anything, and lay off.
Okay.
How much of that did you get from Screen Rant, by the way?
None of it.
Oh, right,
You
because
know,
that Matt Murdock thing, I read that. Matt Murdock is a
no, well,
huge,
that I
like,
mean,
part
Matt
of it.
Murdock thing, the Matt Murdock thing, or the She-Hulk thing. One, they're both lawyers, and two, my big thing is I want to see the Kingpin in the MCU.
Kingpin with Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I want to see Kingpin.
Which Kingpin?
From
As
Daredevil.
Wilson Fisk from Daredevil.
That Kingpin, yeah.
That Kingpin. I want to see that Kingpin in the MCU.
You know what? It's a real shame that what's his name, the big one from the big dude from
Michael Clark Duncan.
Daredevil. Yeah, the Green Mile.
Yeah,
he was a badass Kingpin. I loved him.
He was good. He was good. So
In
Leo, if you
Daredevil,
had
he
creative
was
control,
great.
what would you do?
Hold on. Okay, so I just need to understand the question here for a second, right? Are you asking like if you have creative control, what would you do? As in, what I'm expecting to come?
What would you like to happen?
Or what the fuck else? Do I just go nuts? Here's a
Yeah,
budget,
you could go nuts.
for it.
What would you do? So you're in charge. You've taken Kevin Feige's role, and like you can do what you want.
I don't know, man. Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of me personally. I'm a big fan of not squashing everything in, but like, okay, so you know animated movies, right? And I know you're gonna talk about this on the podcast, but I'm gonna reference it anyway. DCEU, right?
Mm-hmm.
DC animated. You know, they re-kicked after the New 52.
Yep.
Yeah.
They released a DC movie called Justice League War.
Yep.
Okay, which I don't know if you've seen, but I've seen many times.
Yeah.
What, the first one or the latest one to come out?
No. The latest one to come out
reboot.
is a continuation. It's a
Yeah,
continuation.
it's the final one.
From, yeah. I don't know if it's the final one, but I know it's the latest one.
Okay.
That's Apocalypse. So that's Justice League Dark Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So the first movie, when they re-kicked it all back off, was called Justice League War.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, none of the characters knew each other, but you already had an established like background to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're like Green Lantern. They didn't treat their audience like idiots, right? They were like, we have a set amount of time, and we're gonna.
They're all their heroes. They're all in their costumes. They're all.
Yeah. That's what I would do with Spider-Man. I don't know. For me, like, I just don't like things dragging out too long. Says the guy who talks for a long period of time. But I just don't like things dragging out too long in movies. Like, I don't like getting blue-balled in the mouth. I want my instant gratification immediately.
Right.
That's why I'm fat. So, like, I need those endorphins now. I don't want to wait till later. I want you to give it all to me now. So, do what Spider-Verse did. They literally gave me the reason I love that movie. It's the second. I would say second best Spider-Man thing to ever Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first one is the game.
Yeah.
The second one is that, and then the third one is the TV show, the animated TV series. Fuck everything else. Right. So that's if I had my choice, I would just whack everybody into the Spider-Verse movie, just how they did Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
But show me Garfield. Show me me a glimpse of Tobey Maguire. I want to see it. Shit. Throw in the Japanese guy with the giant robot, like Spider-Man, with the Peter Parker that's not Peter Parker, whatever the fuck his name is. That was so racist. I didn't mean to be, but that's what they talk. So throw that guy in. Get the guy who just loads up robots. Throw the fuck that dude in too, like, because that's essentially what they kind of did. Spider-Verse into the Spider-Verse. They were
throw
like,
Alistair Smythe in there with his robots.
Sorry.
Throw Alistair Smythe in there with his robots.
Yeah, just fucking go balls to the wall, man. Like, that's me though, right? You're asking me my opinion. I would give people instant gratification straight away. I'm like, you guys want to see Tobey Maguire? You guys want to see Andrew Garfield? You want to see a fucking giant Megazord Spider-Man? I got you.
Just take it.
Take all of it. Take all of it. I would just take all of it and don't pull out. That's my whole way. And that's the way I don't know. I just think I think giving the fans what they want instead of honey dicking them the whole way can end up just like fucking you in the end. Especially, let's say, for example, that film flops. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it is, but let's say it flops. Just like Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, which I love, by the way, flopped. Right, was setting up something for nothing, like no payoff.
Mm-hmm.
This is a chance to give that back. This is a chance. This is a chance to make up for Spider-Man 3 and the emo Spider-Man. This is an opportunity for Tobey Maguire to stop making fucking crappy horror films and come back to working out and being. I want to see Cider House Rules, Tobey Maguire. I don't want to see whatever art house bullshit he's making right now. Same with Andrew Garfield. I want to see that Andrew Garfield. I don't want to see Andrew Garfield in the fucking, what was that film that he did where he was a Christian that went off to like Philippines or some shit?
He was in that one movie, Hacksaw
The
Ridge.
Scorsese one. The Scorsese
Yeah,
one.
what the fuck film that
Silence.
was?
Silence.
Yeah, that film
Silence.
sucked. That film sucked. That left me in silence. Boring ass movie. But yeah, like, let's fucking bring it. And then, you said Hacksaw Ridge. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why isn't Mel Gibson in the MCU? Is it because he dropped the N-bomb? Is that the only reason?
No.
He just doesn't want to be.
He's dropped many bombs. I mean, I had
it-
him when he started coming for his comeback. I had him down as Norman Osborn.
Same. He's still my choice.
He was the
for
one I
Norman.
wanted for Norman Osborn, but yeah, he's saying stupid shit again. So
I don't care. Put him in. Everyone's saying stupid shit. It's 2020.
No, you know what?
No
You know
one's
what?
saying
He's not
anything
saying.
smart.
He's not saying stupid shit. He's getting called up on shit that he
now,
said
yeah, like
way
Winona
back
Ryder,
when.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, by like
Oh,
20,
yeah.
30
I'm not
years
about
ago.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not about that. I said this online. You can't cancel me. I don't care. I just because I don't care.
Yeah.
Can't cancel culture.
All right,
doesn't
so
affect me because I don't care.
Leo's
But
gonna
that's how
blow.
you do it.
So Leo's going to blow his load on number 3, so there's no fault.
No, but no, you're not blowing your load though. Because no. Think about it. Just because you've got 2 hours. Calm down. You're not blowing your load because you still have Sony. Still technically, right? Sony still have Venom. You still got Carnage. You got Morbius. You can incorporate all that other shit. Fuck. I don't know, man. Take Helen Mirren and put her in a fucking spider dress, and she's Madam Web. Like, seen that bitch in a bikini? Seen her in a bikini? Madam Web, right there. So, and have her be like, hey, Spider-Man. Maybe I'm watching too much porn. But whatever. Anyway, and give me the proper redhead Mary Jane. Give me the one I see like in the comics. I don't want to see Kirsten Dunst. Like, give me the voluptuous Mary Jane. That's
the model, the supermodel.
Yeah, the supermodel. At no point did I ever think Kirsten Dunst with her snaggletooth face should have been on a billboard. Ever. Never once. No, she's got good legs. But that's it. Never. All I'm saying is, God, I'm always controversial on these things. Fuck. Every time I go on a podcast, I just say shit. And everyone goes, oh, Jesus, that Leo guy's aggressive. But I'm just saying, I don't, pick someone else. There are better looking women in the world. Like, people are kicking up of a Michael Bay. Like, Michael Bay makes films with, we want to see that shit. I'm a guy. I want to be aesthetically pleased. I don't want you to put a fat lesbian in there because it makes you feel better. Like, put her in there because she's good for the role. Mary Jane is a plot point for Peter Parker because she's the beautiful girl that he always wanted. So give me the beautiful girl that he always wanted. That's the point. Like, she is important to him, and the reason they hid her in the comics for years is because, like, well, will they, won't they, da da da, and then obviously you get to they finally showed her. But that's the person you want to see. I want to see the Mary Jane from the animated cartoon, but that's just me. I'd blow my load pretty quickly on that one film. You got such a plethora of characters. Like, I want to see Sinister Six. I want to see that shit. I saw that shit in the game, in the 2018 game, and they pulled that off fabulously. Like, obviously it's a longer form narrative, but you can do it. It's doable. If a cartoon movie from the DCEU can do it and do it successfully, why can you not? And that's why, like, when they released that movie, again, just tangent real quick, why did it just copy that fucking movie?
True.
Just live action. It's right there. Like, you don't need to treat your audience like an idiot. So, like, Spider-Man From Home, like, obviously Neil's story is way better than, like, like, what I mean is, it's like, you have the two ends of the spectrum. You have an intelligent answer, and then you have the guy who's like,
Give me the explosions.
Yeah. Literally, it's I like turtles. The one side is, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. And the other side is, yeah, just fucking blow shit up. Because I want to see that. I want to see Spider-Man Swing City. I want to feel emotionally attached to Peter Parker. Maybe it's just me. Like I don't really like younger Peter. Don't get me wrong, they're good movies. I enjoy them, but I like older high school, college Peter.
Okay,
because it now speaks to me now, closer to my age, where I'm like, he has financial problems, he's got responsibilities to worry about. Like, okay, I'm glad that we never had to hear about great power and responsibility, but like, what does Uncle Ben look like? Does anybody know?
Not in the new setup, no.
He must have
Like
been a
Charlie
good-looking dude.
Sheen.
He must have, bro. He must have been a good-looking dude because that's fucking Marissa Tomei.
Theresa May looking like, you know, looking like Flounder from The Little Mermaid. Like, you got to look.
Yeah, 100. And she wants to fuck with Happy.
Hey.
You need John Favreau from the Swingers level of weight to mess with Marissa Tomei. My guy's swelled.
Nah, you know what?
Like me.
You know that right there? When you say about like you messing with Happy, I'm like, nah. You know what? It's accurate. It's you had your young life.
Your whole years. You had your whole years. I'm going around.
You're older. You're raising this kid by yourself.
And then
you're not that appealing.
Now you ate the spring chicken. You got a teenage son to worry about. And it's like, oh, okay.
So Sasha, what would you do?
I'd have paid that child support.
What would I do?
What would you do if you had creative control?
Of what? Just this movie or the future of
Spider-Man
the
3
franchise?
moving forward.
Moving forward, okay. If I was Tom Rothman at Sony, this is what I would do. I'd be like, yo, Feige, come here. Yo, he could be in all your Marvel films. That's cool. But this is what I want in return. I want a movie every year, a Spider-Man movie every year, like hands down. Spider-Man movie every year, like Harry Potter, so he can grow up into Spider-Man
was
eventually.
Harry Potter every year?
It was every year, almost every year. Harry Potter was like every year for the first 3.
Yeah.
Then they skipped a year. Then they, you know what I mean? They'd skip a year at least. You know what I mean? While they were growing up.
To let that puberty catch up.
Yeah, exactly. So,
right, go on.
So basically, I want one every year, maybe even one twice a year. But I'll get to that because here's the thing: I like Spider-Verse 2, and everyone likes Spider-Verse. And what Sony needs, they need a franchise to grow. They need their own little Marvel, which is kind of what they're doing, but I don't know whether they're going to do it this way, but this is what I would do. I'd go, cool, Tom Holland is Spider-Man, and we will get a Tom Holland Spider-Man every year. I'll have an untitled Spider-Man movie come out one year, and that would be Sam Raimi. Yo, I hear you want your old job back. Give me Spider-Man 4 and 5. This is what I want at the end of 5. Peter and MJ get married, happily ever after. Everyone that liked those movies, they scratch that itch. Okay, cool. Raimi makes those movies, make them faithful to these books, like 1 and 2, maybe not so 3, but you know, get everyone excited again. Everyone will be like, imagine the buzz. It'll be like Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. I mean, like, could you imagine a world where that could happen? I mean, with Tobey Maguire coming back, people go nuts. And then guess what I'd do? I'd be like, yo, Garfield, come here. You still interested? You still want in? I'd finish off whatever that shit Spider-Man 3 was. See that honey dicking around? I'll give you all that payoff because you know what? We're in for all of that shit. We're in for all of that shit. And you know what? I don't even like those movies, but I totally understand there are people that do, like yourself, Leo. And I'd give them all of that. And I'd say, yo, I don't know, get up to Spider-Man 5 and do that. But you see, this is, whereas the Sam Raimi one, say faithful to what Sam Raimi wants to do, the Andrew Garfield ones present us with a new opportunity. They present us with, he's over 30 years old, so we could have older Spider-Man. Hell, we could bring in Miles Morales in that universe. And you know what? We could use that universe to link up all these Venom films, all these Scarlet Web spin-offs or whatever. Well, I don't know, whatever Sony wants to do, that's their franchise to go do that crazy shit in. Therefore, Kevin Feige gets to make his films. He's got to make one every year. I'm sure he can figure that out. And when it comes to Andrew Garfield, because he's our guy, into the Spider-Verse, him and Miles go on an adventure, and they end up in the MCU. they team up with Tom Holland in one of these films, and then you have Tobey Maguire cameo, boom. But actually, coming back to the main subject, that's my long game as a studio head. That's my long game. And when they meet up with Tom Holland, that's the Spider-Verse movie, boom. Spider-Man Avengers right there. Everything Leo just said, etc., etc. Now, my Spider-Man 3 at the end of the last one, where he's like, "What the fuck?" Basically, what I would do, it's automatically set up. I'd bring in bloody
Craven.
this guy right here,
Chameleon.
Chameleon, and I'll bring in Craven the Hunter. He's like, "Who is this Spider-Man?" Oh, okay, he's a kid. I can capture a kid and a spider person. I'm Craven. Do Craven's Last Hunt. Throw in Chameleon. Everybody thinks he's just Dimitri, the bus driver from the last film, because that's blatantly what he was. He was a Jason Momoa knockoff. Fuck it, I know he's Aquaman. Get Jason Momoa as bloody Craven. Give me some Craven. Give me the Last Hunt. Give me it there. Boom. And you know what? When you find out that Dimitri is actually, Chameleon, oh, whoops. Guess what? He took my identity. It was him that killed Mysterio. Don't worry, Nick Fury's got that under wraps, so that solves that shit. Oh, if you want the Daredevil thing, yeah, we can throw that in. Everything Neil just said, throw it in there. Fuck it. Best of both worlds. I don't give a fuck. Just give me more Spider-Man. Give me it consistently. Give me every year. Give me, if you want to do Norman Osborn, yeah, I also agree with you guys. Like, have him in as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's the next S.H.I.E.L.D. director. He's got, and it should be called
You know what you
Operation
sound like
Thunderbolts.
right now? You know what you sound like right now?
What do I sound like?
Give me Spider-Man. Give me T every year. Shoot it on my face. Give me all
Yeah,
the webs.
that's pretty much what's going on.
Shoot all the webs, all on my
All the
face,
webs,
in my mouth,
all the
my
webs.
nose. Go for it.
Yeah, totally.
Don't pull out, Spider-Man.
Get
Just
Mel
all the
Gibson.
webs all
Get Mel
over me.
Gibson. Get him as Norman Osborn. Get him do this secret initiative. Call it Project Thunderbolt. Hell, have him in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., Avengers. Then that can lead up to Dark Avengers. Boom. Done. I'm done.
There's the problem. It's a problem. The realistic one that will happen is, if you look at all of them, as close as it's going to be Neil's. Because realistically, they'll never do what you and I want them to do, even though that's the
Logical.
that you want.
The logical thing, because
The logical thing to give people what they want. If they want to, like, listen, do you want to be $1 trillion company? Spend $1 billion on this movie franchise, and you will make $1 trillion back. But they will never do it. I don't know. I don't even know if movies are even going to be the same after this whole Rona thing. Like, I don't know. Like, they'll make a Spider-Man film, but how much of it is going to be all CG?
I don't think they'll move too far away from the formula that they've done before, because they've had 2 huge hits. And yeah, I think Sasha's right. I think the way that it's going to play out is Craven the Hunter. Spider-Man's basically, in theory, going to be on the run. Now, there is a little bit of a tie-in the trailer in Morbius. You actually see Morbius when he's running down the street. You see a poster with Spider-Man saying "Wanted." So there very much could be this big campaign. Now, actually, the poster that was in the trailer was of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, not the Tom Holland version. But whether that was just done for the trailer to throw us, or whether it is a multiverse thing, who knows? So yeah, Parker's going to be on the run. Craven's going to be hunting him down. Now, he's a mercenary, so he's going to be having to do it for someone. So he's either going to be hired by J. Jonah Jameson, who is obviously back into this timeline now, or it might be Norman Osborn. So he wants to study Parker. He wants to take that, studying for his powers and be able to use that and adapt it into a weapon. So I can see either of those kind of things playing out. I can definitely see the chameleon thing playing out, because, like, as Sasha said, you had Dimitri in the last one. He was playing Nick Fury's monitor for Peter Parker. When Parker put on the Stark glasses on the school bus, it's sure that his files were classified, so we don't really know anything about him. But also,
sorry, repeat that.
So when Parker's on the school bus and Dimitri's driving,
he almost kills.
When he puts on the glasses, he sees everybody in all their profiles and who they are.
Yeah.
Dimitri's, it says classified.
Oh, right.
So because he's obviously a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's probably a mercenary as well. Because in theory, Nick Fury and Maria Hill in that movie were actually the Skrulls, so they weren't actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill. So you know,
Why is that? Someone expect. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have been on DC one to be honest, because I watched all the films, but I don't really follow all of them.
that
Like, I don't read too much into
explained.
it.
So Nick Fury's on board a ship. Now it could be leading to Secret Invasion. So but they made it out like Nick Fury's on a holiday and he's on the Skrull ship because he knows the Skrulls from Captain Marvel and he's become friends with them.
When did they make that out?
Sorry.
When did they make that?
So right,
End credits.
right at the end credits, Nick Fury's on board the ship, and you know, so they show that the the Skrulls were actually Nick during the movie, Nick and Maria. So then what you've got is Furio's technology is probably going to be taken by Shield. You've also got the Skrulls' ability to change and camouflage, which could then lead to the weapon for Chameleon to be able to disguise himself. So between Mysterio's tech and the Skrulls, they could develop something for Chameleon, and then it becomes like.
No, can you guys explain something to me? Because I'm like proper stupid right now. Because I remember parts of Captain Marvel, but I don't because I watched it one time. I really should sit down and watch that movie again. But Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah.
I thought the Skrull were. Oh God, I feel like such a cunt. But I thought the Skrull were bad. Aren't they bad?
In the
comic books, they're bad.
They're bad. But I think
why are they good in this movie?
They've kind of made them misunderstood.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to have bad guys and good guys for the Skrulls, and you will have a little bit like the Klingons. You'll have different sides. Some who want to work with the good guys, and some who see it as their own species, and so you'll have a bit of a crossover between the two. So that's kind of how I think, and because basically the Skrulls have been on Earth since Captain Marvel, basically. So throughout the 80s, 90s, 2000s, they've always been around.
Yeah. Because in the comic books, in the comics, this is how I know. Because in the comics, Captain America was a Skrull, and the guy that got the Captain America that got killed. Spoiler for anybody who didn't read it in 2007. Captain America getting killed on the steps of the courthouse, or I can't remember where it was.
Yeah,
getting shot. Just after Civil War and the death of Captain America. But when he was killed on the steps, right, he was shot as he was being walked either to court or out of court.
No.
And he was to court, and he was sniped, right? And that was, and then they said that was a Skrull that got killed. So I was like, oh, that's how you guys brought him back. The Ex Machina, I understand.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I don't really like about the Skrull. When I remember being like, when I was reading it, when I was really into Marvel, was like, God, this is all bullshit. Like, you guys are just using them to like, oh, well, there was
to retcon
it.
Retcon.
We can rewrite it. Because as if anybody was going to give a shit that Captain America died in comparison to when Superman died.
Yeah.
Just explain why I hate Marvel comics.
Do you know what? The thing is,
they haven't been good since the 1990s.
Bro, even with Spider-Man, there's too much going on. Like, I couldn't keep up. I tried to follow the main timeline, and I was like, okay, Civil War, Road to Civil War, Planet Hulk, Model Hulk, all that shit. And I'm like, cool. There was a whole series that that they're using to pick off of. But the Spider-Man stuff in the 90s, Ultimate Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, God, it's too much Spider-Man. These movies now, it's like they have so much source material, but so much of it's shit as well.
Yeah, they've got to be careful what they choose.
Well, I mean, the luxury of hindsight is that the luxury of adaptation is that you can change things to make them better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pick and choose, and that's what.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of this. The Clone Saga. Now, back in the 90s, if you knew me in the 90s, I hated the Clone Saga. You know why? That was 7 years of one's life.
The Ben Reilly one,
yeah,
right?
the Ben Reilly stuff. That's 7 years of my life getting a comic once a month, finding out, is it Ben? Is it Peter? Is it Ben? Is it who is real? I don't even care anymore. After 7 years of honeydicking, kind of put off a lot of Spider-Man fans that used to buy the comic book back in the day, for real. And it's like literally Marvel couldn't figure out. They were trying to make the character relevant again. You know what I mean? Because he was married, he was boring. So they wanted to give Ben Reilly, give him a darker edge. But people were like, well, what about the other guy? You mean that guy is the fake Peter Parker? We've been following him for XYZ amount of years. What the hell? You know what I mean? And then, like, it just became a thing. No matter what they did, it was broken. And then they did the worst thing of all. Well, what I consider the worst thing of all. They brought back Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn hadn't been in a comic book for 23 years. But they resurrected him, and all of a sudden he has a healing factor. He never had a healing factor before in the old comics. So where did this come? And then he just went to Europe and stayed there for X amount of years while Harry died and all of this shit. And they just made Norman a really, really crappy villain. He was very one-dimensional. He didn't have what he had like in the Sam Raimi movie, the dual personality and stuff. He was just evil all the time, trying to fuck with Parker's Day, buying up the Bugle for a bit, etc. The only thing decent they did with the character is when they made him director of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Dark Avengers storyline, etc. But everything other than that was just trying to recreate the glory days. You know what I mean? These days are gone. You know what I mean? Like, come up with something new stuff. But they like to.
Bro.
Yeah.
Black Cat. Bring Black Cat in. Put the Black Cat in one of these fucking movies.
You know, Sam Raimi wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But Sony were like, no.
Yeah.
Sony were like, no, we don't want
Who
that.
was it going to be?
That's too
Who
much
was
like
Felicia
Catwoman.
Harding? Felicia Harding was the blonde chick from.
Felicia Hardy was in the animated show, and she became Black Cat in the animated.
You know who
no,
was
the
all...
actress? The actress was in Jurassic Park, right? That's the same chick.
No,
right?
no. That was
Rogue One. So Alicia's
Hold
in...
on, no. Wait, hold on one second. I'm talking about in the Spider-Man 3 Raimi film.
Oh, that's supposed to be Gwen Stacy.
Actress- Is it Gwen Stacy?
That's
I
Gwen
couldn't remember
Stacy.
who it was. I haven't seen that film in ages too. I own it, but I don't.
Yeah, it's Bryce
stay
Dallas
away from it.
Howard who was in Jurassic World. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Okay,
He
so
wanted...
who would they ever pick for Felicia Harding?
Well, this is just it. Sam Raimi wanted... Eliza Cuthbert from 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good shout. She's
Yeah,
small,
he
she's
wanted
too
her.
small though.
Yeah.
She's small.
But at least Felicia Hardy actually shows up in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And she's played by the girl who's the lead in Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. She's like an assistant to Harry Osborn.
Oh yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I just fucking love those movies, man. Yeah, they were good films. Yeah, I can't believe you don't get it. But Felicia Harding, bring the Black Cat. I want to see that shit.
Well, there's talk of Sony having a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, so that is something. Whether they're going to hold off because they're planning on that and how they introduce it. I think what's going to happen is Marvel are going to want to introduce some characters via Spider-Man, but they have to be careful because they don't know what their relationship is going to be like with Sony long term. So as much as they want to introduce those characters, is it going to overcomplicate things? Because if they tie in characters too closely to Spider-Man and then Sony are like, no, you can't have Tom Holland anymore, it makes it difficult going forward. Because I thought that potentially they could have sort of like Johnny Storm show up as like in high school with Peter, or like join his school, so you can sort of like meet one of the Fantastic Four there. Then you've also you do have this kind of Sinister Six kind of building, because you've got Vulture who's in prison, you've got Scorpion who's in prison.
There's a theory that says that Mysterio might still be alive.
Yeah, I think he is. Mysterio will still be alive. Scorpion is in that prison scene at the end of the first film. So the way I kind of saw this one was, I would have Norman Osborn as this, scientist who's desperate to kind of produce these, weapons using the superpower formula, like the super soldier serum. So he's trying to recreate that. And that's why he wants Spider-Man. That's why he employs Kraven. And then in the background, he's going to be working on this suit for Scorpion. And he was the one who's going to recruit Scorpion to take on Spider-Man potentially for the next movie. So,
what would be good? It would be good if, let's say, Norman Osborn, in his research, formed the Sinister Six by taking them from different universes. So taking the Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man.
I think there's definitely, I think there's talk of
Rhino
Spider-Man
from that
actually
as
appearing
well.
in Doctor Strange too. So there is, because obviously he's signed up to do his own movies, but he has got appearances in other ones. And there is talk of Spider-Man being in there because it's obviously that multiverse of madness for him to be in there. And Sam Raimi's directing Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things that might play.
Fuck working for Disney, bro.
So,
they really work you, man. They were like, you're in all of our movies, and you can't say anything ever. You need to be well behaved at all times, be well groomed, well coiffed. Before you tweet or say anything, you have to be.
unless your name is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark
different.
Hamill.
But, bro,
is,
imagine.
Mark Hamill is a
imagine it,
G.
Do you think I could
Woofus.
ever work for Disney? They would be like, nah, I'm sorry, but unfortunately, the House of Mouse's doors are closed to you, Mr. Levy. We don't.
They'll
I
just
don't
do a
think we
quick
can
social
deal with-
media search and be like, nah, too much risk.
Yeah. Bun this dude. Nope.
So who
No-
would you
no
have
cheese
playing
for you.
Kraven the Hunter?
Who are you talking to?
All of you.
Momoa, man.
Jason Momoa?
No,
Jason
no. Do you know
Momoa.
what? I'm off. No, I'm off Momoa.
You're
I don't know.
off
And
Momoa.
he can't. Yeah, I'm off Momoa. I don't reckon he can. I don't reckon he can pull off the accent.
Okay, the Dolph
Oh,
Lundgren
what?
then.
That's Craven's supposed to be from,
with
right?
with big hair.
No, why
What
can't
about
it be? Why,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Good shout.
No.
I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't know. Me personally, I would go left field, and I would pick the ginger dude from Game of Thrones, the Icelandic one with the big fat ginger beard.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know
him.
the one who's
Yeah.
like always staring at Gwen of Tar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him.
Him.
I'd be tempted by Pedro Pascal,
Pedro
Ooh.
Pascal.
Mandalorian, Narcos, Rogue One.
Oh yeah. I got you. I like him.
No, not
He's a
Rogue
bit
One.
small,
Sorry,
bro.
not Rogue One. Think it's somebody else. But yeah, but in Narcos and what else is he? He was in the Kingsman too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Narcos, why don't you? I like Pedro Pascal, but why wouldn't you just use Benicio del Toro? Oh wait, because he's already the other guy. Yeah, all right, my bad. He's in Galaxy.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
See, I never thought of Craven, but I had like 1, 2, 3, 4 people in mind for Osborne.
Go on.
So I had like Dreamcast, like absolute perfect dude, would probably be Arnold.
It's Norman.
As in Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Norman Osborn.
I like how you're like as in Schwarzenegger. No, as in Hey Arnold from Hey Arnold's fame.
No, right? it's I mean, okay, yes, he's an old man, but I'm like, you look at Arnold and I'm just like, yeah.
Listen, Arnold has played
Villain.
a scientist on 2 other occasions, and both occasions were non-believable. And those
Yeah,
occasions
nah.
are Junior
I'm not having him out there.
and Iceman and Mr. Freeze. In
Yeah, I'm
both
not-
occasions, I couldn't buy it.
super the science guy. I'm having him as Norman, the I'm in control of everything. If I tell you to do something, you do it,
All right.
right?
Who else?
All right.
So that
This
was
is my skeptical Leo face. Go on.
right?
I'm with Leo on this one. I love Arnold.
Yeah, William
Maybe not.
Finchner.
Who?
William Finchner. He's
Some
in
specificity. Tell me more.
William Finchner. He was in Armageddon. He was one of the astronauts in Armageddon.
Oh, was he the guy that was in the Turtles movie as the fake Shredder?
Yes.
The guy in Dark Knight at the start. He used to be in a lot
Yeah,
of films
he
in
was
the
in
early
Dark Knight.
2000s.
Oh,
He's
Him-
a go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like him. Yeah, that's good. I like that guy. He's all right. Yeah.
Then
All right, cool.
another one, not out of left field, but Ben Mendelsohn.
He's already
Right.
Scroll.
One.
He's already in.
He's already. Oh yeah, of course. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but he's a scroll, so you don't see what he physically looks
But no,
like.
we saw him as an agent as well.
We actually saw him as the agent,
Mhm.
Yeah, in
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
That's right, man. We can past that. Right, we can roll past that. And the other one, I don't know why this is in my mind. I thought, possibly, but I know he'd never do it because that's his personality. Is Bruce Willis.
Wow.
Mm.
Ooh. I see why you
No,
went
I'm
there.
still behind. I don't know why you didn't pick Mel Gibson. I'm behind Mel Gibson.
No,
I'd love
yeah,
to.
I'm totally
I
behind
feel
Megan.
like Mel Gibson. I feel like he's, where you kind of look at someone, you're like, you know what, you're too perfect. You do the job. You're so perfect for the role that you'd probably not be perfect for the role.
Would you want to fuck him or something? What's wrong with you? You be too perfect. If he's perfect for the role, he's perfect for the role.
All right, I've got a few. So, what about Dominic West?
Who's Dominic West?
Yeah,
So he was in The Wire and The Affair.
he's the
he is
big
good.
sheep guy from 300.
Yeah, he is good. I'm Not Your Queen. That dude, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I like him. I really like him as an actor. And I think
Yeah.
he can show that little bit of psycho.
As long as him and Harry get to do a scene where they're like, fuck, like walking around a laboratory just going, fuck. Is that what they say in The Wire when they're
Yeah.
in the crime
Fuck.
scene?
Yeah.
They just keep saying fuck over and over again. Are they allowed? Do you think Disney will ever throw an F-bomb in one of their movies? Because DC animated movies are doing
one,
it now.
I think you can have one. So for a PG-13 rating, I think you can have one F-bomb.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they
correct.
did that in the latest DC cartoon movie. They dropped an F-bomb in that. Raven, she goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake," and then she does open the pool or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, okay." And I've just never. I'm expecting. I don't know. I'm just telling you that with a film with Samuel L. Jackson in there, and where there's aliens and shit's blowing up, and basically anything that happens, someone somewhere has to go, oh, fuck this.
I mean, we got
Damian
close.
Lewis.
Sam Jackson. We got close.
Yeah.
Damian Lewis. Who's Damian Lewis?
Oh, from Homeland.
Homeland and Billions.
Oh, the ginger dude.
Yeah.
I don't like him as an actor.
The other one for me, the other one I had is Anthony Starr. So he's in The Boys as Homelander on Amazon.
Oh.
Yes, that is good. That is a very good shout. Yeah, he's
got some real intensity,
ripoff.
man.
Yeah.
And I think he's at a decent age that he can do the physical part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because otherwise you could go something really strange. Like if you could, fancy casting, like you'd have Kevin Spacey or somebody like that. But you know, it's the case. For me, I think you
want Kevin Spacey in a movie where there's a teenager, right?
Yeah, he'll just play Frank Underwood. He'll be Frank Underwood, and he'll just be himself.
To be honest, you know what? Despite him being blacklisted, he would have really good.
Yeah.
If you take but this is the problem with cancel culture.
Yeah,
been awesome.
This is the problem with cancel culture, though. Like, it's ruining films and potential castings because people like Mel Gibson and Kevin Spacey, like, okay, he's a piece of shit, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there, but he's also really good.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is,
like,
I think. Sorry to cut you, Leo. I think if Mel Gibson was the draft pick, if he was the choice of Norman Osborn, then for me, the only way I see that working is if you're making it out that from here on in, for at least, and this is like beyond just Spider-Man, like from here on in, working its way through, he's a villain and he's there for a long time. He can't be a one and done. He can't be you're going to get arrested at the end of this film and thrown in jail.
He's got to be in the background for another 2-3 films before the Hobgoblin.
Kind of like
Green Goblin shows up. And I'd probably go Green Goblin via the Ultimate comic series where it's more of a monster. Changes, because then you can go sort of like the CG route with the Hulk, and it doesn't necessarily matter the age of the actor compared to him trying to be in a suit.
You know what? I just had a thought come into my head where we were saying about I think one of you mentioned about Johnny Storm being at school with Spider-Man, right? I think it was you, Ken, right? You know what would be lovely if I was in control to add more depth to this, make it, you know, the MCU really the MCU universe. I'm introducing Reed Richards. You know why I'm introducing Reed Richards? At Spider-Man's trial, they need someone to deal with like DNA and forensics and whatnot. And then when they're talking about, you've got someone talking about interdimensional, all the shit that Mysterio was talking about, whether he was telling the truth or lying, you know, you have Reed Richards be like, oh, well, he's the expert that was called in to discuss these matters, whether or not Mysterio was telling the truth or lying. You have someone say, well, here's my expert, Reed Richards, whether he's for the defense or he's for the prosecution. And you introduce that. You say that Osborn bought Stark Tower. I know that's like a theory that's been going around for a while, is that Osborn bought Stark Tower. And then there was a big thing that I remember hearing, that in that scene where Spider-Man gets outed by J. Jonah Jameson, if you watch, he swings through a building. Right, there's like a building with a big square in the middle of it, and he swings through it, and there's a theory that that's the Baxter building that they're building.
That's right.
Perfect. Tie it all together.
All right.
I'd like to see something better with Fantastic Four in it. I think
Mm.
Fantastic Four meets Spider-Man. I mean, they've done it. It's done in the animated series. Fantastic Four, when Fantastic Four met up with Spider-Man, the X-Men. You know, like it'd be cool to see them sort of show up. But I don't mean the pussy X-Men that we got now. I mean, fucking that fucking X-Men. That's I want to see yellow spandex. We're 2020, anyone can do whatever the fuck they want now. I want to see. Well, it'll be 2021, right? By the time
It's all going to happen, yeah. And on future episodes, we're going to talk about Venom, Carnage, and Morbius, how they're going to tie into the MCU and Spider-Man. We're going to talk about casting the Fantastic Four and how we'd introduce them. And we're also going to do a casting of the X-Men and how we'd introduce them as well. So we will do those on future episodes.
Again,
so,
who would you cast?
For
you did it. You've done it.
Yeah. So
I haven't done it.
Yeah, go on, Sash. Who do you have as Norman Osborn?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson train as well.
First, second, third, fourth choice. And if I had to have a second choice, William Dafoe.
Okay.
William Dafoe. Yeah, I would bring William Dafoe back in some capacity.
You know what's worse?
I mean, is there a rule that says he can't work for them because he works at DCU?
No, there's no.
They cross over a lot these days.
Considering the flipping
Michael Keaton didn't get that memo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, if I was thinking of choices, I'd want someone like a Mel Gibson. So I'm looking at A-list stars.
Yeah.
I liked it when he said Bruce Willis, because you know what? If you could get Bruce Willis being old Bruce Willis from back in day Bruce Willis, where he was cool and shit, then yeah. Because you need that gravitas, you know, which older movie stars kind of have. So,
but do you not think you look at Bruce Willis and just see Bruce Willis as opposed to the character he's playing?
You know what?
Imagine Bruce Willis turning into the Green Goblin.
Here's the thing. You would never get Willis though. That's the thing. But then, mind you would never get Gibson either. You know what I mean? But someone I would consider, John Travolta.
I was thinking that when we were talking about other actors, but I don't know, man. I don't think.
No, I'm talking
a Marvel film already.
He would have to do like a performance like Blowout, or like even Get Shorty, where he's that ruthless.
Hold on, why are we skipping Nicolas Cage as Norman Osborn?
Because
he was first choice for Norman Osborn for the Rami films. Yeah, Sony really wanted him to be, and Rami was I want Dafoe, and they were like, no, we want Nick Cage, but Nick Cage couldn't do it because of scheduling thing.
I tell you who's underrated, who could be good, John Cusack.
Oh,
I got one better. Christian Slater.
Do you know what he doesn't do for me?
I mean, he was good in iRobot for what he did, but I can't see him bringing the gravitas to that role.
Yeah. If you'd have to have somebody who's like, I mean, the GOAT would be Mel Gibson or maybe Nicholson.
Hold on.
Well, no, I was about to say Nicholson if he was younger.
Ken, bring it back a bit. Right, Ken, you said who was good in iRobot?
Not iRobot. So, what was the Amazon series?
Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Oh, okay.
Slater was in that. Sorry.
Wait for a second when you said iRobot.
Yeah.
What the
You're like, hang on. I don't remember that cameo.
Yo, do you think they would ever put Wesley Snipes in as Blade in Spider-Man?
No, because they've casted Blade.
Who's Blade?
Mahershala Ali.
Oh, right. Yeah. The guy from the film with Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
You see, and you know what makes me laugh is obviously that kind of means that Disney definitely, absolutely have no intention of putting the Netflix MCU, of connecting it to the actual MCU, because I'm like, he was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's playing Cottonmouth.
I think they still might pull some of those characters. I think they're quite keen on Daredevil.
Yeah.
Keeping him in the MCU, and Luke Cage. I think they are actually quite keen on keeping a couple of those actors in it, but they're not going to be what we saw.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if maybe they're in it. I just don't think they'll merge well. Like, I had this thing in my head about actors who work on TV and then move into movies, and it's almost for me, what it works one way, but it doesn't feel like it works the other way.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't get we wouldn't get a Daredevil movie with Charlie Cox.
No,
but
not a Daredevil movie, but
movies.
putting him in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because like once you introduce, let's say Neil's theory is correct, right? And Matt Murdock is his lawyer. Once you introduce that character, and you're like, this is Matt Murdock, and he is Peter Parker's lawyer. At some point, just like in the film The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, right? You have to see him in his uniform fighting crime. Otherwise, what's the point? There's no payoff. So it means that you're putting him in the movie, and I just don't feel that. I don't know, man. Like I don't know if he can. I don't know if it'll pull off.
I think with because of the nature of Netflix's shows, I think it comes across quite well, because the nature of Netflix is like, all right, yeah, it's TV and it's TV shows, but I feel like there's a difference between, like, I think Netflix is basically the bridge between what we think of as traditional TV and TV shows and then movies. I think Netflix is the bridge, because
maybe it's just me. Like the way I see things, I just don't see people like, they're just not heavy hitters enough.
Yeah,
I mean, makes sense.
And that's why they're going to be more bit parts, because when it originally launched, Netflix was part of the MCU timeline, because they referred to the event and everything, and they're rebuilding and all that kind of stuff. So it started off that way, but then it just made, because there's so much happening in the movies, they just, and when the series were being recorded, similar to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they just couldn't keep up with the main story of the MCU, and it would give spoilers away. They'd have to react differently. So they just moved away from it, and then they had the separate divisions, Marvel with Netflix being separate, TV and movie, and they just kind of separated it all. So, all that kind of changed. But now the rights are back with Marvel. I think except for maybe Luke Cage, but I think there was like an 18-month or 2-year period that after it finishes, the rights of those characters move back.
It's only Daredevil that's back.
Yeah, it's only Daredevil that's back at the moment.
The others will, because of when they'll come played out, they'll move over as well.
Because Daredevil was first, right?
Yeah, because they'll all move over eventually back to the MCU, and they'll recast or they'll reboot, or they might use some. I think they'll pick and choose. So,
but I think with that, where we could say, it works differently, is because just thinking of the Netflix heroes, so Daredevil, Luke Cage, they're not going to use
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Jessica Jones,
Iron Fist.
Just looking at them, with the exception of Iron Fist, all the others have actually been in pretty substantial film roles. Mike Colter's been in a number of films. Charlie Cox has been in films with freaking Ray Winston and Michael Caine. So I think they have that almost like they have that little kind of like that pass of like, okay, well, you've been in films before, so it's not going to be weird seeing you now in a film where I've never seen you in a film before. Whereas I think, what's his name? Finn, whatever his last name is. The only thing I knew him from was Game of Thrones. So I was like, I'm sure he's been in films, but
I didn't hate him, to be honest. I liked the second season of that show. It's a shame it got cancelled.
Yeah. I mean, if I was in charge, I would bring in Daredevil, Kingpin, Punisher, and focus on those ones and incorporate them into the Spider-Man universe potentially, or maybe some of the other characters. Because obviously they could play into different ones. You've got some smaller characters who you could kind of put them in the background. You have like Ant-Man and these other characters who might need a little bit more support in terms of their future movies and stuff like that. But look, we've got loads of stuff to look forward to in terms of what's happening with Marvel, with the Eternals, and got Black Widow movie coming out and all sorts. So so that's it for today's podcast. So thank you very much for joining me, guys. Where can everyone find you on social media?
You'll find me Mr._Ovaltine Jenkins, where I will share random pictures that I draw on Instagram. And that's pretty much it for the moment. Oh, and don't forget to use my subscription for Skillshare. It's skillshare.com/3 please sponsor me. That's it. Thanks.
Cool.
They can find me at shoot4 moon pics on Instagram. I just post random shit.
I'm just gonna say one more thing. # make a Space Ghost movie. Go on.
And Sasha?
People can find me on Sashman3 on Twitter.
Cool. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at KenanTalksFilm. Please let us know your thoughts on this episode and suggest some other movies or franchises for us to discuss in the future. You can catch all our episodes on YouTube, iTunes, or Stitcher. So until next time, thanks very much.